This match is from the second iteration of 9.0 test. I'm not showing the whole scoreboard at the start of the match like I normally do because Wargaming managed to break something and hitting tab causes the scoreboard to stick, and the only way to get rid of it is to tab through the menus. So I was playing the Panther to check out the new HD model of it. It looks pretty good. You can see as well in this second iteration a lot more tanks have been adjusted to use the new shaders, so the colours vary slightly and some of the details are different. I know the new textures are only a temporary measure until each model gets an HD rework, but they are rather clean. They're missing a lot of the details that the old skins had, so I'm still kind of skeptical. I still think the old skins, while obviously lower fidelity, had a lot more of the actual details that make a tank look like a tank. On the other hand, the HD models, as you can see, the textures have been very well done. The camouflage paint is brushed away and the metal's shiny where the crew would scrape their boots against the tank, or where things would be dropped as they're reloading shells or whatever. Unlike War Thunder, where a lot of the damage to the paint work is just random. So here I move into a bush and decide to take some pot shots at this guy. I'm not jerking my aim upwards right before I fire. That's because on the test server, since I don't have my no scroll mod that eliminates the recoil impulse while still keeping vertical stabilization for the gun sight, I have the recoil impulse turned on. So I can have the stabilization, but I also have to deal with the recoil, which is really irritating. So as you can see, our AMX hasn't even connected yet. Spy a pair of Rheinmetall Borsigs over here and take a couple shots at them, but I don't want to sit in front of their guns. Quite lucky in getting this matchmaking. Lots of tier 8s, but thankfully no tier 9s. On test there are so many T-54s around right now, and M103s, it's not even funny. So 304 was spotted, so I take a couple shots at him. I decide to take one more just in case. You can see the Panther doesn't move very much when it fires its gun. Much like the real thing, the Panther's size and weight, coupled with its rather sophisticated suspension, meant that when it did fire its gun pointed off to the side like that, there was very little movement evident in the tank. If you look at a video of T-54, T-55s, basically any post-war Soviet tank firing with its gun turned off to the side, it rocks the whole tank because of the power of the gun compared to the relative lightness of the vehicle. So 416 pulls back into cover. There are two 304s as the enemy arty, so really there's no arty cover to be had. The main point is just not to be seen and to move at unpredictable times. Now, from what I recall, and it certainly looks different, the devs altered the Schmalturm in test as well. I think they cut couple inches off its height. It appears shorter, which is in accordance with documents they found, blueprints or plans or something. So you can really see the detail here as the tank turns. It's quite pretty. I'm hoping that one day, Wargaming have hinted at this, one day being able to add extra track links and road wheels to the sides of the turret, just like the remodel I use on the live server. So I haven't got shots on those guys in mid, so I move around a bit. Obviously the commentary is a bit lacking on this match. I'm sort of more interested in the 9.0 changes than I am describing exactly what's going on. You can probably tell anyway. This KV2 tries to get clever, instead manages to get himself stuck in a ravine. So I get some free shots through the roof of his turret. That one unfortunately misses, and he just manages to slide himself down where he's much harder for me to hit. whiff that shot rather badly. You'll notice I do get a very poor ping to the test server because it is based in Eastern Europe somewhere, I think. I'm not sure if it's based specifically in Russia, but I do know it's somewhere in Eastern Europe. I think the RU cluster has servers throughout Europe, actually. I think one's in Amsterdam, or was in Amsterdam. I'm not sure if it still is. So you can see here I've been spotted. There is a Roomba right next to me, thankfully with the 150. So that was a terrible shot there. I don't know what I was thinking. But because he's using the 150, that actually means I've got a much better chance of surviving this. If he high rolls now, I think he might just be able to one-shot me, but he's got bad gun handling, he's bad at aiming, and he has a long reload, so I'm able to just easily roll him over. You can see HE being used against him. Just because it was a life or death situation, I needed to get the damage out. I don't carry very many HE shells in my Panther, so that used up what little I had. You can see here I'm trying to get clever and snapshot the KV-2 over the rock. I might be able to get away with that on the NA Live server because my ping's much lower, but it doesn't work here. Just the delay is too much. So another pretty ropey shot there. You can see as well this sort of bluish green tinge to the sniper scope. Allegedly that is removed by coded optics, so every tank will have that tint unless you have coded optics, which explains why my Leopard, my XTB and my Centurion all on test didn't have it. Obviously binoculars don't remove it. I'm not really a fan of it, but oh well, I'm sure somebody will make a mod to deal with it sooner or later. You can see that tank rocking quite evidently on the suspension there. Now, Wargaming have released a dev video, a dev diary about the improved driving physics I don't know, improved but more realistic driving physics they plan to introduce. Now we have the enemy 304 telling us the ISU is a bot. Anyway, so you can see a bit of travel in the suspensions on all the tanks. You can see a bit of bad there in my driving, but I don't think they've fully implemented it yet. I believe once they do add the new driving physics fully, so you got gear changes and different rolling resistance and so on, I think that's when you'll see the full suspension travel. But you will notice the Panther suspension travels a lot more than the other tanks that have been redone so far. The Whippy aerials will also come in later patches with the actual proper physics. At the moment they're not in. So you can see this is a 3-kill game, no XCM, so no in-game damage counted, but I believe I got a decent amount of damage. I got decent XP for this, otherwise I wouldn't have even bothered saving the replay. So I managed to make a ridiculous snapshot on that guy and finish the game. Not a bad run. More so to just show off the Panther than anything. I don't know if you noticed, but particularly with regard to the engine deck, the fighting compartment heater, which is the raised fan on the left side, and the regular engine cooling fan, which is on the right side, they both actually have a separate mesh for the gauzed layer on top, and then the fan, and then the framing of the actual vent under it. So the details are really quite nice on these tanks. I'm looking forwards to test iteration 3 with the Centurion remodel. Probably this video, I don't know if I'll cut this one in like I was planning on doing with one of the others, or if I'll just leave it and you'll see it like 6 months after after 9.0 hits, but either way, I just felt like recording something showing off the new Panther and showing off a little bit of gameplay as well. Panther in a mostly tier 8 match and still coming out on top.